If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are who made the guess or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and a pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Vanko. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. I'm a baddie, she bad, but she totally nice. Det var så blue, and I thought så like white. Det kunne blive med charter, der så for mig lag. He knew it for sure, but he left with a why.
Join us on this fine morning in the time of Bev for an angle on horizontals, the Titans, in the level corner with 28 confirmed wins and 0 losses. Bev. In the horizontal corner, Jesse. 12 theodolites, 0 losses. We will be joined tonight for the event of the century, the ultimate globe debate. Our 2 horizontal planes, independently established in 2 different locations, parallel to each other. I guess we could give it a few minutes to let people filter in, unless we want to get started, but yeah.
We might as well wait another 6 minutes since everyone was told we'd be starting at that hour, so it's not that long.
Where did you get 28 from? You just made that up, right?
No, I've been following you for years. You just didn't know.
Okay.
This was all psyop.
Yeah,
I just made it up. I just made it up.
Yeah, I have I suppose, history. I'm quite proud of the debates that I've had. There's some of the most ridiculous, I consider, things to debate.
Indeed.
And I think this is goes on the list also.
I'm pretty proud of some of your measurements.
Yeah, what you consider a measurement and what I consider a measurement are completely different things, aren't they?
Indeed. We'll find out.
Well,
Don't begin the debate just yet, gentlemen.
Oh, that's right. We're waiting 4 more minutes for the stragglers. Let's see.
While we're waiting, check out this badass dragon that I have on my desk. Isn't this cool?
Wow, is it glass?
It's a little glass orb.
Oh, but it's a pot metal casting dragon.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Is there a bed frame at the back there?
An unassembled one, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that for sleeping standing up?
Well, as you know, I don't sleep, so it hasn't been an issue.
That's what I told people earlier. You have an espresso machine, not a bed, because that saves space.
Okay, if anyone, let's see. I almost have as many people muted as 24/7. It's a good start.
Wow.
Not quite. The founder of the scientific method, Northern Rebellion, has joined us. Welcome, Northern.
Hey, Northern. I'm
What
gonna
other?
pop into MMM and let them and the VC know, and I'll be right
Okay.
back.
Alrighty.
I'll just go and get my favorite cat.
I like your thumbnail, Bev. Well done with that one.
They are watching a movie, and it's got 30 minutes left. Says
Okay.
Hockey. Well, Bev, do you want to present evidence and cross-examine first, or would you like me to present evidence and cross-examine first?
Well, I'll go first if you want.
Certainly.
Okay. Are we ready to start?
Yeah, I think
one
we can
It's
go
not
ahead.
8 o'clock yet, is it?
We got 1 minute, so it seems like a fine time to start. Yes, let's have a. What does she say in Harry Potter at the beginning of the Quidditch match? I'm trying to remember exactly what she says. Nice, clean game. And yeah, try not to beat each other with the bludgers. All right, go ahead, gentlemen.
Take it away, Bev. We never read the topic and thing.
Yes, we did.
Oh, maybe was it when I dipped out?
No, it was right before that when I did my intro. Do you want me to read it again?
Oh, maybe you did get it and I just wasn't paying attention. So, did you heard the topic, right, Bev?
Well, I don't know. Something about an angle on horizontals, or then whether horizontal planes are parallel.
Right. Whether two horizontal planes, independently established in two different locations, are parallel to each other.
Uh-huh.
All right, take it away. It's your job to try to convince me and the audience that all horizontal planes are parallel.
Okay. Right, welcome. I am Bev Try Thinking, for anybody that doesn't know. I know it's on this channel, but other people might be broadcasting it too. I've been involved in this, call it arena, for quite a while. A lot of people have said that these basic facts lead to other situations and other conclusions. Well, I'm just here to say that a horizontal, in reality, does exist. It's used within the trades. It's how buildings are built. So the question is whether level is horizontal. So level being a tool that establishes a horizontal plane of reference would be the way that we establish the horizontal to start off with. Now, the question then would become, or for this particular debate, whether that horizontal plane, level being a horizontal, has a chance of being parallel to another horizontal. And if you have a reasoning process that would normally go along the lines of things that you've seen within the school system, then you would say that the horizontals are parallel, at least locally. Well, the question here within this debate depends on, I guess, the size of a horizontal plane. Where the tool, a water level, is one of the tools for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. So that horizontal plane of reference locally to the water level would be a horizontal between 2 points, point A and point B, quite simply. Now I can go over the whiteboard, how we actually establish that, but I think Jesse's going to say those sort of things. So for opening remarks, I would say that in order for you to say whether horizontals are parallel, first of all, you have to establish a horizontal. And that seems to be the main consideration, because once you can establish a horizontal, then it's pretty obvious that there can be other horizontals that would be parallel to it. So I think I'll end there, hand over to Jesse to see where the rest of the debate wants to go.
Do you have any actual physical evidence that all horizontals are parallel, or are you conceding that there very well may be some that aren't parallel, but only certain sets of horizontals are parallel?
No, that was just my opening remarks. I was handing it over to you whether you wanted to go over your opening remarks.
Oh, sure. Okay, well, I would like to present some evidence. The only problem is I can't decide which evidence is the best. So I will start with 2. Yeah, 2. Okay. Let me
Did you just say evidence of what? Like, give us your opening remarks of like what are you here for? Because you did ask for this debate. So can you just tell everyone that, you know, what this debate is to you?
Okay. So if you will all turn your attention to the diagram I have just posted into the live debate text chat. This is an auto level shot of the Blackpool Tower from Parbold Bottle in the UK, about 20 miles away from the Blackpool Tower. Now, the observer was at an elevation of 395 foot eye level. The top of the tower is at a level of 500 feet. And yet somehow the entire tower appeared below eye level. So if you were to take and draw a straight line through the open air from the observer to the tower and put a bubble level on that straight line, you would find that the straight line was sloping downward towards the top of the 500-foot tower. Now, I posit to you that if you were to go to the top of that 500-foot tower and draw a straight line down to the 400-foot high ground elevation, that line would also be sloping down. Now, these two lines are lined up in the same location between the same 2 points, and yet they are not parallel. So I have given an example of 2 lines that are not parallel. And I think it's clear to see that had the observer been at the same height at both ends, he would have been looking at a slope down angle to the other end, but going both ways. So my question to you, Bev, is how can these two horizontals be parallel if they're at different angles to each other? How can they both be sloping down in opposite directions, crossing in the middle, and yet you still say they're parallel?
Talking about the stadia hairs and the crosshair.
No, not the stadia hairs, the crosshair, the center ones. The stadia are the ones that are above and below the center
Yeah,
horizontal
they'd be
one.
parallel, right?
The two stadia hairs are parallel to each other, but that's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking
And they're parallel to the center line also, aren't they?
Yes.
So all three lines are parallel to one another in there.
Right.
Okay. But
And
you're not
parallel
talking
to-
about that, are you? You're not talking about those horizontals being parallel.
No, I'm talking about the horizontal that is formed between 2 points of equal elevation at a distance.
Yes. Why are you using a picture that you can't verify?
I forensically verified it.
Verified what?
That you guys had correctly set up that auto level.
How?
Well, it is statistically implausible that you accidentally set it up incorrectly such that it matched the globe. And it is also impossible.
Oh, not everyone knows tis globe, right? But
And
how did you verify that the picture matched the globe? I mean, other than the fact that it's a picture of the globe, obviously.
well, I'll get there. And I know that it's impossible that you intentionally set it up incorrectly to match the globe because you don't know the math required to do that. And so here's how I figured out that it matches the globe so well. So I looked up the model for your instrument, and I found out that it has a 1 to 100 stadia ratio. And I also knew the distance to Parbold because our good friend 3DP told me where he was, and I confirmed it on Google Earth. I matched it up perfectly. And because I knew the distance and the angular separation of the 1 to 100 stadia hairs, I was able to calculate the exact pixels per foot ratio at 21 or 20.1 miles. So using that, I could tell exactly how
Pictures
far.
per foot, pixels per foot.
Yes, sirree. 1.045 feet per pixel. It's
Right.
even in the red text on the right side near the bottom. It
How many
has to be
pixels?
true.
You're talking about pixels of the camera that took the picture.
Nah, just pixels of the picture that you're looking at.
Okay, wow,
Well,
this is beyond me. This is pixel for distance.
Well, no, pixel for height.
Yeah,
Because
distance, a vertical distance.
right, exactly. Well,
That's
if
what
I
height
know the
is.
if I know the angle, you're a surveyor, right, Bev? You know this. If I know the angle and the distance.
I'm a carer. I'm not a
What?
surveyor.
Oh, but you understand a little bit about trigonometry, right? Well, maybe you will after this. Let me post a diagram and then revert back to this. This one has the approval of our friend George, Rambling George. So it's called tree genometry, and it's for measuring the heights of trees. And if you know the angle and the baseline distance, you can calculate the height. And because the auto level, wherever that picture went to, has a known stadia ratio. I know exactly how many degrees of angular separation is between the two stadia hairs, and I know the distance. So with the angle and the distance, I know that at 20.1 miles, each pixel represents 1.045 feet of elevation. And so with that, I can calculate how many feet the 500-foot tower would have to stick up above its current level in order to appear at eye level, right? Does that make sense, or are we lost?
No, the right angle is required in the distance over there in order for you to do this, because you're doing trigonometry, obviously. You require a right angle, a relationship between vertical and horizontal, where the tree is.
Okay, so do you understand what I'm saying about missing angular elevation height, elevation angle, looking both ways, or not?
Because you've got plumb there as well on the device. So plumb and level, would they be perpendicular?
On the
Like-
crosshairs?
Like horizontal and vertical? No, on your drawing. Because you've got plumb and level in your drawing. And that, I take it that's 90 degrees. The relationship between plumb and level is a right angle.
Yes.
Perpendicular.
That's why you can see the guy right there. The little guy right there? Well, that makes it a right angle.
Yeah, but the triangle that you're using has the right angle where the tree is, doesn't it? The trigonometry uses the right angle over there. So that's perpendicular to level also, isn't it?
Well, all we really know is that it's perpendicular to the horizontal line projected by the crosshairs in the auto level.
In the distance. Like, so if you're holding a measuring rod, like I'm often pictured, that measuring rod has to be held vertical, and that's because it has to be perpendicular to the crosshairs when reading it. That's the reason why you rock it backwards and forwards, right? To get it, make sure it's vertical.
All right, let me present my next point of evidence.
Well, is this evidence that you've got two perpendiculars to your level?
This is evidence that not all horizontal planes on Earth are parallel to each other.
It's a different picture.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'll pull it up. Unless you want to turn. Is there something you would like to rebut?
No, is this still your opening remarks?
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, it seems like you're full into it. You'll have to let us know when the pictures are coming, because the chat's moving pretty fast.
All right, the picture has come.
Okay.
All right, so this is my setup. I assumed levelness just for you, Bev. And I set up a telescope.
What do you mean by that? You assumed levelness for me?
Well, because when you say level, you mean flat. So I
don't. I don't.
Well, okay.
When I say level, I mean the tool that establishes a horizontal condition, right? That's what I mean.
Could I ask you a question, Bev? You can pass it if you want, but I do have a question. Do you believe that the surface of large bodies of water at rest is essentially planar in nature, or spherical in nature, or none of the above, or what's your take on that?
I would say that a water level, which essentially I think is what you're trying to say there, really, because that's just one body of water. That establishes a horizontal plane of reference. Yeah.
That's not precisely what I answered, is it? Or asked. So, would you say that? Do you know what a plane is? Just describe a plane to
geometry.
me. Yeah, in geometry, describe a
It's
plane
just
to me.
two-dimensional, length and breadth.
Okay. So, would you say that the surface of water at rest essentially falls along the contour of a horizontal plane, a
Yeah.
flat
A
horizontal?
water level establishes 2 points of an equal altitude, and the shortest distance between those 2 points would be a horizontal, which means those 2 points would exist on a horizontal plane.
Well, I didn't ask about a water level. I asked about a large body of water.
Which
Repeat
is
it
a
after.
body of water, which
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
level.
Repeat it. Repeat it after me, Bev. A large body of water at rest. Try that.
Yeah,
Say it. A
yeah.
large. Say it with me.
As indicated within a tube, a large body. How large do you want to make it? Lengthwise?
Like a lake. Let's maybe like a 1 mile by 1 mile square lake. Yeah.
Okay, a mile.
Yeah. Oh,
So we just
we
get
can
a
make it.
mile water level.
That's right. You're in the kilometer world. So, what is it? 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers, roughly. Would you say that the surface of that lake most closely approximates a plane, or a portion of a sphere, a portion of a cylinder, a portion of a dinosaur? What would you say most? What geometric shape would you say most closely represents that surface of that 2 by 2 kilometer lake at rest?
It was square, wasn't it? 2 by 2.
Uh-huh.
So square, that shape.
Well, but what about the surface topology? I feel like you're
What's the surface topology of a square?
well, I feel like you're kind of avoiding the question, Bev, because
You've asked me what shape it is. I've told you it's a square.
well, the fact
You want to
that,
ask me what the surface of a square is? Well, you know that. It's 2D.
well, is it a 2D spherical surface with a constant radius, or is it a 2D planar surface?
Two-dimensional is length and breadth. It's a plane. A
Ah,
square is a plane surface, isn't it? The plane figure. Superficies.
well, you could have approximately a.
We should have come to these terms. I thought we all understood this. It was about horizontal planes, isn't it? Where
Oh,
the
indeed.
horizontal planes are parallel. And I
Indeed.
said right at the very beginning, can a horizontal exist? Looks like that's where we are right now.
Well, now, it is possible to have an approximately 2 by 2 kilometer square on the surface of a large enough sphere. Would you agree? Are you familiar with the grid system that the UK uses?
Yes,
Okay, check out this picture.
the grid coordinate system.
Yes, sir. Check out this picture I just put. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
I took a piece of paper. I printed out a scale size of the grid system to match my globe, and then I got it wet, just like real globe makers do. And I very carefully worked it onto the surface of my globe until it followed the spherical surface, even though it had started out as flat paper. So anyway, so you agreed that in your opinion, the surface of the lake at rest most closely approximates a plane. Is that right? Mic check.
It's not a plane, that picture that you did. It's on a surface of a sphere.
Well,
That's not a plane.
No, I'm not asking you to say that that's a plane. I'm asking you to confirm that you did agree that you would you would say that a 2 by 2 kilometer approximately lake at rest would have a surface which most closely approximated a plane. Is that fair, or am I misrepresenting you?
Look, if you want to establish a horizontal plane of reference, you will get 4 water levels. You could do that, right? Imagine 4 water levels, all of the length of, what was it, 2 kilometers? Let's do that. Let's have 4 2-kilometer water levels and go from A to B to C to D.
Well, let's keep it simple. Let's start out with
that would establish a horizontal plane of reference. All 4 of the water levels would match up together, and you would have a horizontal plane, wouldn't you? Established in between.
Well, I find it immensely curious, and I think the audience should too, that you don't want to answer the question about whether you think that the surface of a lake at rest most closely approximates a plane. You seem to not want to even talk about it. You could say yes or no, or you don't know, or it's more complex, but you just avoid the question.
No, I will tell you again, Jesse, a plane is 2-dimensional.
Well,
right? It doesn't actually exist. It's missing one of the vital dimensions for it to be real. So for me to say that the surface of a lake most approximates that which isn't real is ridiculous for me to be able to say that. So that's why I don't say it. That's why I say, if we want to establish a horizontal plane of reference, then do that with the tool, the water level. You can be precise with those words, using those things.
Well,
I don't know why you want to muddy the waters to get people to admit that the surface of a lake most closely resembles something that doesn't actually exist in reality.
Well, a plane is a definition. Would you say
length and breadth?
Would you say that a flat sheet of glass reasonably represents a plane, or is most closely similar to a plane than any other geometry?
Yeah, I think everybody understands what a plane is from childhood. We learn what squares and circles are, don't we?
See, I find this fascinating. I'm asking about the surface, and you repeatedly divert to the perimeter. Well, why do you do that, Bev?
What do you mean the perimeter?
Well, I ask about the surface of the lake, and you say, yeah, it's a square lake. Well, square is not the topology of the surface. Square is the shape of the perimeter, right? The path of the perimeter.
Well, the surface isn't actually a plane, is it?
Well, if all plumbs are perpendicular, or all plumbs are parallel to each other, and all horizontals are perpendicular to all plumbs, and level is perpendicular to plumb, then the surface of the water would have to approximate a plane. But look at this here. Let's just say, because I think you admit to yourself that you believe that the surface of water at rest most closely approximates a plane. So let's just go with that. You can, if you would like to choose another topology that you think it most closely represents, then say something. But I set up this this measurement where I had a telescope, an angle measuring telescope, also known as a theodolite, which I used to measure the angle to a flashlight in the middle and a flashlight at the far end. You see my little diagram there?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Excellent. So the telescope and the 2 flashlights were both the same height above the surface of the water. So that means if the surface of the water was essentially planar, then the telescope and the 2 flashlights would also be all within a level horizontal plane 5 feet above the surface, or 4 feet above the surface, right? Are we on the same page there?
You could set up a water level at 3 points there, couldn't you?
Well,
5 feet above the water, it would be, wouldn't it?
isn't the lake kind of a big water level? I mean, I figured if God made it, why do I need to make,
A water level would confirm it, wouldn't it? A water level would be precise, because a water level is actually a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference, not a lake. You don't get lakes to establish horizontal planes of reference.
Oh, so you're saying that the surface level in a communicating water tube level system would form a different surface topology than the surface of a lake at rest? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying the lake is not level?
I think you might be confusing the water of the level within the lake, because that's a vertical. That's on the vertical datum, that level. Like eye level. Right? They're just vertical height measurements. You require a tool called a level to be able to say that these points on the vertical datum are equal. That's the use of the tool, the level.
I wonder, are you not aware that the word level has a few different meanings, and one of them is no point at a higher elevation than another point?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we agree that this lake at rest the surface of this lake at rest is level?
The water level of the lake would be established on the vertical datum.
Well,
yes, that would be.
I realize.
And then, like I say, if you would then want to use water levels to encompass this square lake, you would find that the water levels establish a horizontal plane of reference, and they would be an equal distance above the water.
Well, so I'm aware that the word level has a few different meanings. One is, like you said, with reference to a vertical datum, how many inches above or below a reference point. But there's another meaning, which means no point higher or lower than any other point, which is a different meaning, which is what defines whether a surface is level. Do you understand that distinction there? I know you do.
Yeah. The stuff I'm talking about doing, Jesse, is talking about doing it in reality, right? The real globe. When we go out there, we can actually do these things that I'm talking about. It would be a big test, right? But as I think we're hoping to get to, that horizontal can definitely exist. These tests can be done because of these understandings of horizontal and vertical being perpendicular in the real globe, right? That's what we're talking about, isn't it?
Well, no, we're talking about whether
We're not.
all horizontals, or whether all horizontal planes on Earth established in different locations are parallel. That's what we're talking about. And so that's why I'm trying to establish with you this very simple fact, or this very simple question of whether the surface, I'm not talking about the elevation of the surface, I'm talking about the levelness of the surface. Do we agree that the surface of the lake at rest is level? That is to say, no portion of the surface higher or lower than any other portion of the surface of the lake. Can we agree on that one point?
Since there would be ripples and motion, probably fish or whatever, then I don't think you could say that.
Well, let's say it was.
But you could say, if you were to take a water level, the tool, and encompass this square area with 4 water levels, I would say you could say that they establish a horizontal plane of reference. Definitely.
Well, let's say
without question, right?
Let's say that all the fish jumped over the edge of the flat.
Why are you trying to make a fancy scenario? Let's just use the water levels.
Well, we have an amazing water level here, and we don't even have to question whether the tube is clogged because it's a lake. And I think if we can't come to the simple agreement of whether the surface of a lake at rest, we can specify that there's no fish, there's no wind, it's a perfectly glassy, smooth water lake. By the way, glassy smooth is an expression. It doesn't mean it's made of glass, it just means it's like smooth like glass often is. So, do you agree that a glassy smooth lake at rest would be, the surface of it would be level?
Yeah.
What's that?
The level of a lake is measured on the vertical datum. That's what you would call this thing, right? When you have eye level or the level of a lake or the mean sea level or sea level, right? That's measured on the vertical datum.
Okay,
That's
well,
one of the meanings of level.
well, you obviously don't want to answer the question I'm asking. I know that you know there's two meanings of level, and I know that you're intentionally
Yeah,
switching from the
I'm
one
telling you,
using.
these are the two meanings. One of them is a vertical. It's on the vertical datum. It's just a measurement of your eye level from your feet, all right? That's one of the meanings of level. The other is the tool, the level that establishes equal altitudes.
And
So you can be sure that this altitude over here of your eye is the same altitude as over there, the other end of the water level tool.
so, what word would you like to use to describe a lake where no part of the surface was
Why are
higher?
you so transfixed about the lake?
Well, because my friend, it's your Achilles heel, and I may not be a great debater. I don't even think I'm a good debater, but I do know that when you know your opponent's Achilles heel, you kind of have to chase it.
Okay, right. Well, let's say the debate is supposed to be whether horizontals are parallel or not.
Well,
And are you trying to establish for you and for the audience's benefit that a lake is a horizontal plane of reference? Is that what you're trying to say?
no, a level reference. That's why I use the word level instead of horizontal.
Okay, so what is a horizontal to you? Can you explain what a horizontal is to you and the reason, the purpose is they cannot be parallel?
Well, I would love to, and I hope to, but my argument kind of needs you to accept what everybody here knows is true, and that is that a lake at rest is level.
Right. Your argument. So what is your argument? Can we start the debate and you can present your argument?
Well, you see, when you have a discussion with somebody, you have to speak the same language as they do, or you can't make an argument that they will understand. And part of the language of geometry is what the understanding of what a level surface is and what a flat surface or a planar surface is. And you seem quite reluctant to agree to a common understanding of what level and planar means.
A level is a planar surface, right?
Well, that assumes a flat Earth.
No, it doesn't. We're just trying to establish to you what a level and horizontal are, because I mean I've been trying to explain that you use a tool called a level to establish a horizontal plane of reference. So the horizontal plane of reference is sort of dictated to particularly by the water water level. It's natural, just one body of water. That's all that's required for a water level.
Okay, let me try this approach. Maybe this will help. look at my. Are you still got my little diagram with the little one-eyed guy and the? And I wonder if that's Jeremy. Anyway, the one-eyed guy and the two flashlights. Do you still have that up? Should I share my screen? I could
No,
do that.
will probably be better.
Oh, okay. Let me share my screen. Is that okay, Mr. Moderator?
Chat's moving pretty fast.
Yeah. I'm scrolled way up looking at my own picture. I will share my screen. Just give me 2 seconds.
I don't understand what your argument is yet. Are you saying that horizontal planes aren't parallel? Is that?
I'm saying my argument is that multiple or that different horizontal planes established in different locations on the surface of Earth are not parallel to each other. That is my claim.
So would that be like A and B? They're two different locations. Like in the case of a water level, you have a tube of whatever length you want. Pick a length. A mile?
How about 1.5 mile, or how about 3 miles with a tap in the middle?
3.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's a bit excessive, right? I mean, you can do it over a mile, couldn't you? I'm talking about actually doing this. This is something that people can visualize.
All right. My screen share is
1 mile. 1 mile's a good one because the numbers are already set, aren't they?
Well, just pretend it's 1 mile then, okay? But my diagram says 1.5. You got my screen share up?
Yeah, let me just adjust it.
Oh, I forgot my intro. I am Jesse, who gave up thinking long ago. There. That was like a Bev who thinks, and I'm Jesse who doesn't think. You got it all adjusted there?
Yeah.
All right. So, let's say I hung a plumb line right here. Okay? Pardon my excellent and amazing artistic scribble there. Would it be perpendicular to the surface of the water?
Would it be? I'd
Yes.
hope so.
Do you believe it would be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say I hung another one right here.
Okay. This is A and B. We have this. Have you ever heard the thing that Emma did? Advanced Simplicity.
I think that was a long time ago.
A and B. Imagine at Bedford levels, there's 2 bridges, A and B, and plumb bobs.
We should see if we could get them to rename it to the Bevford levels.
I doubt they'd do that.
Yeah, well. I wonder if they'd rename it to the Gordon levels.
So here, this is what you're doing here. You're talking about 2 points, A and B, at a distance.
So, do you believe this second plumb bob would also be perpendicular to the surface?
Yeah, that would be vertical, right? Plumb bob. 2 plumb bobs, establishing 2 verticals.
Right. Perpendicular, though, to the surface of the water there?
Vertical.
Why don't you answer my questions, Bev? I would like to
Because a plumb bob just establishes a vertical.
I would like to point out to the audience here that Bev is refusing to answer multiple key questions that are very simple, and I think that should be taken note of there. Okay, you can take note of things too if you want, Bev. So, do you believe this second plumb bob would be perpendicular to the surface of the water at its location?
It will be vertical.
Do you know what perpendicular means?
Yes.
Okay, define perpendicular for me.
It's a relationship between two lines where
What is that
all of the right angles are equal. It's all about equal angles and the relationship between these two lines or planes.
Okay, so are you claiming that the angle here and the angle here, sorry, I'm a bad mouse artist, are equal? Is that what you're claiming?
No, I'm saying that's a vertical. You'd need to be able to establish a horizontal plane of reference, wouldn't you?
So, are you... Why don't you just say yes or no, Bev? You already said that this first plumb bob would be perpendicular to the water, right?
I'm saying, yeah. Everybody couldn't get it. Like, you're not just talking to me. You're establishing a plumb bob at A and a plumb bob at B.
All right. So are we on the same page? Both plumb bobs will be perpendicular to the water under them, the surface of the calm, restful water under them, right?
I don't know. Isn't that what we're checking? But we do know that they would be vertical because that's what plumb bobs do. They establish a vertical. So we've got a vertical at A and a vertical at B.
So
please continue.
Well, help me out here. I think you just said that we don't know that this plumb bob would be perpendicular to the surface of the calm, restful water underneath it.
Apparently, we don't know. Yeah, because this is your establishing because the things about horizontals being parallel, right? So carry on, because the verticals are definitely established at A and B.
So are you saying there's a possibility that either the plumb line is not plumb, or that the water surface is not level? Because if the plumb line is plumb and the surface is level, then they're perpendicular to each other, right? So are you saying there's a possibility that they are not perpendicular to each other in the real world?
Yassi, please, time will be limited, right? Are we having a debate? Because is this your opening part for you to tell us? Because it seems like you've not made a position. You've not made an argument. I'm here in the affirmative to say that horizontals are parallel. Now, what is the case that you're making? Because, like I said at the beginning, can we establish that a horizontal plane does and can exist, can be established in reality, the real globe?
All right, let's try. Okay, so what I did on this day is I set up these flashlights and the telescope, the same height, all the same height above the surface of the water, and then I measured the angle from, and I wrote it down, and then I measured the angle to the second flashlight, and I wrote that down. Now, can we agree that a line straight from any one of these points to any other point is a horizontal line?
You've got a telescope measuring angles, as far as I can see in your picture.
It was actually a Nikon DTM 420 theodolite. Not DMT, DTM.
So it wasn't a telescope. It was
Well, they have a telescope
theodolite
built in,
Okay.
and I was using it as a telescope as well. It magnifies like 26x times. It's pretty... Oh, you know about stuff like that. So, back to my question, though. And this is... I'm trying to make my point, but we need to have some common understanding. Is a straight line between 2 points of equal elevation a horizontal line? Yes, no, don't know. Too complex. What's your take on that?
Did you measure an angle in the vertical plane? With this telescope, or were you measuring an angle in the horizontal plane with the telescope?
Well, since you didn't answer my question, I will assume that you agree that a straight line between any 2 points of equal elevation is a horizontal line? Okay, I measured the vertical angle from my vantage point to each flashlight independently, and they measured differently. So this is the dilemma. One of them I measured, say, here, and the other one I measured about there. So that's just, it's not to scale, but it illustrates the point. So if these, if we agreed, as I assume you did earlier, that a straight line between any 2 points of equal elevation is a horizontal line, then the measurement from the theodolite to the first flashlight was a horizontal line, and the measurement from the theodolite to the second flashlight was also a horizontal line. And yet, they were at different angles. So I present this as evidence that not all horizontal planes on Earth established in different locations, they're not all parallel. So I have presented in my very long opening statement, and thank you for allowing me that, Bev. I have presented evidence, real world evidence, that not all horizontal planes in different locations on Earth are parallel. Would you like to cross-examine me or present any evidence that all horizontal planes established on Earth are parallel to each other?
Yeah, I've got arguments and all sorts.
Cool. So you brought arguments to an evidence battle? Don't you need data?
This is a debate, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I did have a question for you, Bev. Do you believe that we can prove the physical topology of something without ever measuring it, just by using pure logic? Or do we actually need some actual physical measurements to start with before we can get all wax eloquent in our measurements?
Yeah, we can perform these tests in reality, like you. Can I just go back to your drawing? Is your claim that those two orange lines are horizontals?
Well, my claim is that they were essentially straight lines between 2 points of equal elevation. Obviously, that doesn't line up perfectly on my little graph because I drew a flat lake, but when I measured, they were at different angles, and yet they were 2 points of equal elevation. So you tell me, do you believe that a straight line between 2 points of equal elevation is a horizontal line? Do you believe that, or do you not believe that? Or do you not understand the question?
Yeah, a water level is the tool for establishing an equal altitude. That's
Well,
the water level tool.
this is just a
You've got flashlights measured. I take it measured vertical distance, like a vertical level above the water.
Yes, I put them all 4 feet above the water for one test, and then all 5 feet above the water for the next test.
And yet, it seems as though your conclusion is that the water is sloping away.
Well, I don't know if sloping is exactly the right term, but
And you say this is over 3 miles.
the farthest one was, yeah, about 3 miles.
Okay, and do you know, like you measured an angle? Do you know how much lower? Because this is, I take it, these distances that you're saying for the slope, that would be done trigonometrically type thing. You would establish a horizontal, would you?
The distances?
In order,
No, I got the distances off of Google Earth.
what the total distances, but what about the actual distance, the opposite to the angle measured? Opposite side of the angle.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Well, you've got a slope, haven't you? You've got your horizontals, the orange lines, they're sloping.
Right. Yeah, they measured
Down.
from the end point. They measured
Measured.
as sloping, and they measured as sloping differently. So
Right. So
how-
what did they measure about those lines?
let's see here.
I
The
take it there's an angle measured, because you did say there was an angle measured. So are you measuring an angle between those two lines? Which is the angle? Is it the angles between those two orange lines, which would be, in your case, horizontals, right?
well, if we can agree that a straight line between two points of equal elevation is a horizontal line, then those were horizontals. Yes.
And that angle in between them is an angle between two horizontals.
Exactly.
Is that the angle that you measured?
Well, I measured the elevation angle of the one and the elevation angle of the other, and they were
So-
different. They were both a
Okay.
downward slope, and the farther one was more of a downward slope. Oh, I think I just realized where I can get those numbers handy. Here, hold on. But
So
yeah,
if you were to do trigonometry, right, would the 1.5 miles and 1.5 miles be that slope distance, or i.e. the hypotenuse? In terms of trigonometry.
the hypotenuse. I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, you said you measured an angle, and I asked you, was it in between the two horizontals that you have pictured? You said no, you measured two angles, and I'm asking you now, where's the other line that you've got? Where does that come from? Because if you've measured angles, where is that other line? What is it?
Oh, you mean the level that I'm measuring with reference to?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a bubble level and a level compensator in the instrument.
So would that be level or would that be horizontal?
In the instrument, level, definitely.
Level, right? And like you said, the level drops. Is it? There's two horizontals that your theodolite gave you for horizontal, right?
Here, let me change.
You
screen
said
share.
that they were sloping, but horizontals don't slope.
Okay, so how then do you explain my measurements to an angle from the end of a straight line where both ends were of an equal elevation? If horizontals don't slope, then why did I measure a slope between 2 points of equal elevation? That is the
You said you
$1,000,000.
measured an angle. What was the angle measured from? Is that from another horizontal?
No, it was from level. Do you
From
know what an elevation angle is?
level.
Yeah, do you know what an elevation angle is?
Yeah, but level is being horizontal, right?
No, level.
Okay.
That means perpendicular to plumb.
Right, and perpendicular, plum's a straight line, so perpendicular to a straight line, plumb, would be horizontal, right? That's what horizontals are. They're perpendicular to vertical.
You could say I measured relative to a horizontal established with the tangent point of at my observer location, if you want to say it that way.
At your theodolite. So you've got a horizontal coming out, and then you're measuring an angle from that horizontal to two different horizontals.
Here, let me show you.
You deem one of these other horizontals as sloping, but horizontals don't slope. I don't know.
Well, I'm presenting evidence that if you're not at the tangent point, you will measure what appears to be a slope. And can you see the new picture on my screen share?
It's not a horizontal then, is it, if it's got a slope?
Can you see my new screen share? It's a photo with
Yeah, I've
some...
still got it on my screen, yeah. Everyone can see it.
Let's see, did I not change to... Let me see what I changed to. Yeah, can you see the kind of a dark picture with the white print?
Yeah.
Shows some crosshairs. Okay, cool. All right, so I leveled out my theodolite. So the crosshairs, this is just like looking through an auto level at this point because I leveled it out.
Yeah.
And
You
you
say
can,
the theodolite set to straight and level.
oh, yes, sir. And horizontal, too.
Okay.
So, now you'll see this is the near light right here. I'm circling it in red at 1.5 miles. And then this is the farther light. And then these are the reflections. So you can see that for some reason these lights appeared at different vertical angles. Okay, can we agree on that? Can we agree that the light coming from these two different lights was at different angles than each other and then horizontal or eye level, straight out?
Well, I'd say in the picture that we're looking at there, yeah. But you know, pictures taken through theodolite and auto levels aren't useful for any type of surveying, right?
Okay,
You do know that, right?
well, that does not address the point of why there was a lower angle to the near light and an even lower angle to the far light. If that's if a horizontal line is level at all points, then both of those lights should have appeared right up here on this line, right?
Look, Jesse, the debate is whether horizontal planes are parallel.
Well, do you see how I've presented evidence of two horizontal lines being non-parallel?
The crosshairs would be horizontal, right?
Yes, the crosshairs are projecting a horizontal by horizontal line right here. They're
Okay.
straight
And
out.
then let's say you move that crosshair down a hair, say, or two,
Okay.
then that would be parallel. That horizontal and the horizontal that you've got there would be parallel. At least on the screen.
Okay, let's switch.
So
screen
you do have a device there, don't you, that does establish within the crosshairs a vertical and horizontal that are perpendicular.
Right. Okay, so look here.
Okay.
I've tilted it down now. Let's see, it says the two flashlights and the theodolite were all 48 inches above the water. Had to point the theodolite 0.023 degrees down to line it up to the far light, even though they were at the same height. So
Did you present that on Ranties?
no,
Did
Ranty
somebody
had,
present that at Ranties? Looks familiar.
well, I mean, I don't remember. Maybe I did. I think Ranty kind of got out of Flat Earth about the time I got into it, so I'm not sure. But, I wonder. Maybe I did. I don't remember. But the question remains, this far light, well, first the statement comes, this far flashlight here, and I do apologize for the exposure. If it's not showing up, I can try to increase the contrast. But the far flashlight is at the same height as the observer. So if we agree that a straight line between 2 points of equal elevation, which this is a straight line between 2 points of equal elevation, then that would be a horizontal line. And yet I am measuring 0.023 degrees down from level at one end of this horizontal line. So if all plumbs are parallel and all horizontals are parallel to each other, then how am I measuring a downward slope at the end of a horizontal line? And the second question here is, you can see that if I wanted to also line the crosshairs up with the middle light, I would have to bring it up. I couldn't leave it down here, so I can't line it up with both at the same time. I can choose the one or the other, which quite clearly demonstrates that those two horizontal lines, the one to the middle light and the one to the far light, those two planes are not parallel. Would you agree with that, or do you have a comment, or what is your rebuttal to my evidence? This is real life evidence. I've got videos that you can watch that I took these screenshots from. I'm not making this up, and in fact, I will drop them in the chat right now while you rebut this very powerful evidence of two horizontal planes being non-parallel to each other, even though they overlap part of each other.
Okay, I don't think we've actually got there, right? So you've got 2 points, A and B, and they're separated by a distance. Now, like I've been saying all along, the way to do this, to establish a level between the two, would be to get a tool called a water level. Dead simple. All it needs is a tube long enough to stretch from A to B. Fill it up with water, make sure there's no bubbles in it, airlocks or whatever, and the 2 points at A and B will be at an equal altitude, an equal vertical level. So that's how you'd know that, and in between those 2 points, obviously, geometrically, would be the shortest distance between A and B. That line would be a horizontal line. Very simple. Now, that horizontal line would lie on a horizontal plane, which would be equally horizontal in every direction. Now, that can be established in reality. That's all I'm here to say. And that happens on the real globe for everyone. You can check this yourself. Jesse seems very unsure about what he's stating and what his claim is.
Oh, my claim was very clear. I clearly demonstrated two horizontal lines, partially overlapping nonetheless, that are at different angles, which by definition means they're not parallel to each other. And but you're claiming that they are parallel, so
I'm claiming that A to B is the same as B to A. They're both horizontal. They're both the same horizontal. If you establish a horizontal from A to B, then that's the same horizontal as from B to A.
So how then do you explain the difference in angle of these two horizontals that I measured on our real Earth?
You just measured an angle.
Well, are you denying that those were horizontal lines, even though they were essentially straight lines between 2 points of equal elevation?
Well, can you establish a horizontal between A and B?
Well, I think if I have a essentially straight line between 2 points of equal elevation, it is a horizontal line. But I noticed you refused to answer that question when I asked you. So maybe we should answer that since you brought it up so kindly. Do you believe that a straight line between 2 points of equal elevation is a horizontal line?
Yes, water level, like I've said, establishes equal altitude.
Okay.
That's a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference.
Okay.
That's what I said all along, Jesse. I don't know. You've been trying to say something that when you measure an angle from A to B, it slopes. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'm saying that when I measure the end of a horizontal line, not at the tangent point, that it is not level. That's what I'm saying. So, are you agreeing with me that a lake at perfect rest, the surface is level?
I think we don't need to go over it again. When you talk of the level of a lake, you're talking about a vertical water level, like a sea level or like eye level. They're just a vertical level measurement.
Well, are you aware that there's two meanings of the word level? One is a vertical distance, and one is the state of having no portion higher or lower than any other portion or area point. No point higher or lower than any other point. Are you aware of
Yeah,
that
like
usage?
no slope. Yes, like a horizontal. Like horizontals don't slope, level doesn't change elevation.
Well, maybe we should work on that. What makes you think that? Well, so are you claiming
Altitude.
that all points of a horizontal are level?
Yes, the tool, a water level, would establish a horizontal plane of reference. That works anywhere. Everywhere, in fact.
Are you
Anyone can do that. They can use a water level to establish a horizontal plane of reference.
right? But the water could be curving. It could still be level, but it wouldn't be a plane, right? If the water was curving, then it could be level, but not a plane, right?
A
Or would it?
horizontal plane of reference is definitely a plane. Yes.
Okay, so if it was curving, it would not be a plane, right?
It wouldn't be horizontal because horizontals don't curve.
Okay, so are horizontals level at all points or only at one point? You're claiming that horizontals are level at all points, right?
No, I'm claiming that all horizontals are parallel. Now, if you want to be able to prove that to yourself, then you use a tool that establishes a horizontal. In order for you to scientifically validate this to yourself within reality, you have to use things within reality on the real globe, right? So you go to a shop and you buy a tool that establishes a horizontal plane of reference, and then you find some way to use your reasoning ability to establish whether that tool does actually establish a horizontal plane of reference or not. Right? You check to see whether the straight line lies within a plane. If that's your understanding of a tool level establishing a horizontal plane of reference.
I wanted to buy the lake, but I couldn't afford it. But are you saying that the surface of the lake at rest is not level, or that it is level? Why do you keep bringing up the water level tool when we have a lake that's at rest? What would cause the lake to not be level if it's
How are you going to establish parallel with a lake? There's not much you can do with it. You're going to have to employ a water level at some point to be able to establish a check scientifically, aren't you?
So you want me to use water to see if water is different than water?
To see whether a horizontal is established, a horizontal plane can be established within reality, because that's what we're checking here, right? It's just putting horizontal planes on your globe, because they obviously do. People do it all the time.
Okay. So did you concede that or agree that or say that horizontal lines are only level at one point, but not over their full distance if they're long?
No, a horizontal line is horizontal the entire length of the line.
Well, I didn't ask if it was horizontal. I asked if it was level the entire length of the line.
Wow.
Do you know the difference between horizontal and level?
Now, you tell us.
Well, okay. I have it. Is it okay if I use a dictionary definition?
Please explain.
I just dropped it in the chat and I will read it. Horizontal. This is from the Science and Technology section of the McGraw-Hill Scientific and Technical Terms Dictionary, 6E, copyright 2003 by McGraw-Hill Companies Incorporated. Okay, horizontal. By the way, you gave this to me, Bev, years ago, and this is your highlighting, I believe. So I've always been grateful for this. Horizontal, being in a plane perpendicular to the gravitational field, that is, perpendicular to a plumb line, at a, I would like to note that a is singular, given point on the Earth's surface. So, according to the definition that you gave me all those years ago, the technical definition, not the nursery rhymes definition or the one for the school children, or the actual technical definition here, is that a horizontal lies in a plane that is perpendicular to a plumb line at a single point above Earth's surface. So what that means is it's only level, that is perpendicular to plumb, at one point. And then as you go farther from that tangent point where it's perpendicular to plumb, it becomes non-level. So I've shown real-world field evidence. I've given videos that show that this is true. And I've given a technical dictionary definition that a horizontal line is not level along its full length. And I guess we would all love to hear you give some real-world evidence that a horizontal line is level at all points. Or concede that it's not level at all points. And I'm saying level, not horizontal, right?
Why are you bringing up a definition of horizontal line?
Well, you asked what I thought horizontal meant.
Yeah, but you're saying that's not what level is. So when I asked you what level was, you chose to tell me what horizontal was, which isn't. Right? That's not level, right? Is what you're saying. Or what are you saying? Because I'll agree with that, right? It's a plane perpendicular to the plumb, right? And the plumb's only a point, but you can have that point everywhere, can't you?
So
anywhere where you establish a plumb, that's at a point, isn't it? Like that plumb is only where that plumb is. And horizontal is perpendicular to that. And since you can establish plumb anywhere, horizontal is perpendicular to that. Always, everywhere. Horizontal is perpendicular to plumb.
So are you
But
saying...
you said earlier, right, that level is perpendicular to plumb.
Level is in fact perpendicular to plumb.
Well, this one there conflates horizontal with plumb by the fact that it's perpendicular. That's the same.
So
that understanding of perpendicular that it's talking about within this science and technology is the same understanding of the perpendicular geometrically, isn't it? Being at right angles.
So did you say, are you saying that if we established a horizontal plane that we could put a plumb line at two different locations?
A and B. You could definitely have a plumb line at A and B.
And both plumb lines would be perpendicular to that horizontal plane at their point of tangency?
You could have a straight line between those two, couldn't you? That would be perpendicular.
Well, I'm asking if two plumb lines...
A and B.
At a significant distance apart, would both be perpendicular to the same horizontal line.
That's the idea, isn't it? Vertical and horizontal are perpendicular.
Well, I'm asking you, is this what you're saying?
On the real globe, right? Are horizontal and vertical perpendicular? In the real globe, in reality.
Well, in a rectangular coordinate system, yes. But when I go measure on the real world, the angle at the end of a horizontal line, I find that it is not level at the end. So How
At
do
the
you
end.
Yeah, at the point of observation.
But you said level is perpendicular to plumb.
Level is perpendicular to plumb.
So you measure it to be not perpendicular to plumb at the end, do you?
Incorrect. I
No.
measure the end of the horizontal line. I'm not saying that level isn't perpendicular to plumb. I'm saying that there are areas on a horizontal line that is not perpendicular to plumb, and my measurements show that.
But horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. So are you trying to say that your measurements show that horizontal and vertical aren't perpendicular?
Correct. My measurements show that there are locations where a horizontal or where a portion of a horizontal line is not perpendicular to plumb. I just showed you. I dropped the videos, I gave you the screenshots, and I even drew you a pretty crayon color diagram. So I think I have, hey, Mr. Moderator, could we take a poll in the text chat and find out if most people think I've clearly articulated my evidence that that my supported my viewpoint on the debate? And if so, then I think we should give Bev some time to try to bring that back and come up with some evidence to counter my evidence. Does that sound like a good idea?
I'm trying to stay impartial. Bev, what is your opinion?
At the moment, I'm stunned to find out that Jesse can measure that horizontal and vertical aren't perpendicular over there. That's amazing. Because here, it is, isn't it? It's always perpendicular, horizontal and vertical.
Well, I've shown evidence that they're not. Would you like to show some evidence that they are?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm stunned. Horizontal and vertical being perpendicular. Sort of foundational, I would say. We're doing all sorts, so I mean that's globe. Jesse.
Thank you.
Because I mean I'm just talking about the real globe where horizontal and vertical are perpendicular.
Well, do you have some measurements, or is that just an opinion you got after eating some bad cheese, or how did that come about? Give us what you got. I've done a lot of talking. It's time you try to bring this back and give me some pushback here. I've brought some strong evidence, photographic, video evidence. So take it away, Bev. Try to bring us back here.
Did we see a video? I don't think we saw a
I
video.
pasted them earlier. I can get them to you again.
Okay.
And if you like, I can screen share one and just kind of skip around and like take maybe 3 minutes to just kind of give you the quick rundown. Would you like that?
Give you a quick rundown of your summarize. Yeah? Are you summarizing your position?
Well, just summarizing my measurement technique. Kind of a quick commentary on a sped up version of
It's
my
a vertical angle, isn't it? You measure a vertical angle.
Yes, sir.
Okay. To determine the slope of a horizontal.
Well, the angle of a horizontal at a certain location relative to vertical, relative to plumb specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, sloping horizontals measured on the vertical angle.
Well, yes, between 2 points, it's a slope. I measured a slope between 2 points of equal elevation.
Does anybody know what we call that? An angle measured between two horizontals? Do believe it's called the equipotential angle of adjustment. Shout out, George.
Well, now, if we're going to turbo encabulate here. I will use the turbo encabulator if you don't come up with something, Bev.
Like I say, Jesse, I'm stunned. I don't know how to reply to the fact that horizontal and vertical, like I've said at the beginning, horizontal and vertical are definitely perpendicular. But a horizontal plane can be established in reality on the real globe.
Well, and
people do it all the time. They use a tool called a level, and those levels come in different forms. But they don't come in angle measuring devices because that's a theodolite. It's a different tool. You use a level to establish a horizontal plane of reference. Now, if you want to check it to make sure it does actually establish a horizontal plane of reference, then you're going to have to come up with some sort of a reasoning process for you to be able to do that. We've already done that. So establishing that a straight line lies within a plane is a fundamental, even within geometry, solid geometry of reality.
So how would you, what evidence would you bring to the audience and to myself to show us that it's not just your opinion, but that you actually have evidence that that all parts of a horizontal line are level?
Well, I'd say to people out there, everybody listening, that it doesn't matter what anybody else says about these sort of things. This is, it's down to you whether you decide that you want to actually delve into this. But all you're doing it really is checking the fundamentals. You're understanding horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. What does that mean? Geometric saying. It's the fundamentals of mathematics. The way people understand things. Yeah, I mean, it has to happen on the globe, right? On the real globe, you have to find some way to meld these things, these fundamental understandings with modern day life. And there's some places that's a healthy discussion, and there's other places that's not a healthy discussion. I don't want to continue with like a backwards and forwards where in the end outcome is you, Jesse, stating that horizontal and vertical aren't perpendicular over there, because that sounds like madness. And I don't know whether that's been induced by somebody's idea of a model, I don't know. Don't think I need to support any evidence that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular.
Well, I've supported my claims with evidence. If you want to support your claims without evidence, Bev, that's a challenge, but more power to you. But I don't think the audience is going to find it very convincing.
Well, no, I'm saying that I don't think there's much I can say to anybody, particularly you, within this debate scenario, that would make you, I don't know, because the stated position is that horizontal and vertical are perpendicular. But you claim that over there, they're not.
Well,
but if you were to actually go over there, they would be perpendicular.
Well, no, actually,
perpendicular.
So if I were to go over here and measure the angle to this end, I would see it down here. Are these two crossing lines plumb or parallel to each other?
Oh.
So, yeah, I don't.
So you're saying from A to B, you've got completely opposite horizontals. You've got
Well, that's the way they measure. Now that makes perfect sense on the real globe, not the double, triple, on quadruple quote globe, but the real globe that makes sense. But in your
no,
little
on the real globe, everybody would know that the horizontal goes from A to B. That's the understanding that everybody has, that horizontals don't slope.
like
Yeah,
this.
that's a horizontal, yeah?
Okay, so then why did I measure a downward slope?
Well, I don't know, but it's not horizontal, is it? If it's sloping, it's not horizontal. That's pretty simple. You know, in the real world, on the real globe, that's what happens. That's what a horizontal is. Established between A and B.
That's not what we measure. Well,
What do you mean? What? Not what you measure? What between A and B?
I think we're going in loops, Bev. I've presented evidence, I've presented arguments, I've presented pretty diagrams that would put any 2-year-old to shame. Not a 3-year-old, but maybe a 2-year-old. And I'm coming up. I used to be able to beat a 1-year-old at the crayon art. Now I can beat a 2-year-old at the crayon art. So, I understand you're speechless. I've presented some pretty solid evidence, I guess. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I did not expect you to be speechless, but I'm flattered. Would you like to maybe take a week or two and mull things over, and then we can have a rematch, and maybe then you can bring some evidence for your claim that contradicts observable reality, or what do you want to do?
Well, I mean, we did come here to discuss about horizontals being parallel, and it seems like you've ended up falsifying horizontal and vertical being perpendicular. At
Well-
least over there.
Well, the technical definition of the dictionary indicated that a horizontal is only level at one location. My real world measurements
Like
show that
wherever
horizontals
you
are
have
only
a
level at one location.
wherever you have a plumb bob, it was at the location that you have a plumb bob.
Well, there's good evidence that that plumb bobs are not all parallel as well. But that wasn't our specific topic. Would you like to debate me on whether plumb bobs are all parallel next time?
Don't know. You don't know what parallel and perpendicular are, obviously.
Well, I think I do. Perpendicular means at 90 degrees too.
Forms a grid system, like a
And,
square.
And parallel means
If you would take a unit of length, then and use the perpendicular system, you would form a grid system, like we have in the UK. Squares.
well, they're almost squares. They're not actually squares.
Perpendiculars makes squares.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because if you actually look
Like
at the math,
vertical and horizontal
yeah,
being perpendicular. But you've said you falsified it, so
if you actually look
well
into
done,
the.
Jesse.
Okay, let me know when you're done. I'll wait.
Oh, go on.
You sure? Okay, so if you actually look into, what do you call it, the UK National Grid System or something like that? So if you actually look into that, there's a mathematical correction that they have to do to map it to the real Earth, because the real Earth doesn't conform to a square grid system. The squares are different sizes on the real Earth depending on where in the grid system they are. Were you aware of that?
Squares are different sizes.
Yeah.
Did you say
Were you aware of that?
perpendicular grid system that we have in the UK?
They're also not perfectly perpendicular. Were you aware of that?
Well, I wasn't aware of horizontal and vertical being not perpendicular. So maybe we have a different understanding of what perpendicular is, Jesse, because it seems like you're confused about what is perpendicular and what isn't perpendicular. It's a relationship between straight lines.
I've tagged you with the Wikipedia article, which gives the math and gives you pointers to where you can find more authoritative sources if you want.
About perpendicular, Jesse.
Well, about the UK, what's it called? The Ordnance Survey National Grid. Boy, that sounds nice. I wish I could say it with your accent. Say that for me. The Ordnance Survey National Grid.
No.
Oh, be a good sport, Bev. Just once for me, please.
No, Jesse, this is getting a little bit ridiculous. You're talking about perpendiculars. Are you saying it's not perpendicular?
Yes, the squares in the grid are not perfect squares, and the intersections are not all perpendicular. Because they actually map to slightly curved physical areas on the surface of the Earth. But anyway, that's a little bit out of topic, so I think we've
But you
completed
you
this
realise that a perpendicular is right angles.
Yes.
Okay. Where the right angles are equal.
Well, I mean, that's a right angle is 90 degrees, right?
Yeah. And perpendicular is the relationship of straight lines where the right angles are equal.
Well, Mr. Moderator, shall we do closing statements? I don't see this going any farther, and it's 1:33 a.m. for me, so I'm glad to do a rematch if Bev thinks he can counter something.
Sure. Unless who wants to go first on the closing?
Oh, why don't we have like a little while of Q&A too? That's always fun from our audience participation. After our closing.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Take as much time, and if you want to just each do a closing statement, and then we can. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to change everyone's roles real quick though.
We could also just move to the other room.
Yeah, that would probably be the easiest thing to do. Okay.
Yeah.
So how about that? Let's take closing statements, and then we can move to the other room for Q&A or anything like that.
All right. Well, you went first, Bev.
Have you concluded your thing? Because I didn't really get much chance to make a case about. I mean, I don't think I need to really, right?
Well,
obviously, if anybody does actually want to come and challenge the horizontals being parallel or level being horizontal or the realizing Euclid tests or anything, then we are going to be up for explaining that to people. We're talking about the real globe. That's all we're talking about.
Yeah, if you think you can make a case that debunks my first-hand evidence that I reported with video and color photos, take all the time you want and make your best case. I will make myself something to drink here.
I don't think I or anybody could encounter such an esteemed person as you as to have falsified horizontal and vertical being perpendicular. At least over there.
Oh, you're too kind, Bev. Well, would you like to make your closing statement then, and then I'll make one, and then we'll open it up for audience Q&A?
Yeah, well, like I say, I think I didn't even get chance to state anything to the positive from my side, but I was.
Well, now's your chance. Go ahead.
I was trying. No, Jesse, you've got to get to bed. It's late.
No. Tomorrow's Saturday. I plan to stay up as late tonight as we need to finish our debate. It just didn't look like it was moving, but if you would like to make a statement or a point or an argument, the floor is all yours.
Okay. Wow. Took all of that time for you to open up to get to this point. Okay. Well, let me get back to it then. I've made a few arguments it's been stated quite often. I'll put it up in the debate chat just so we can go over it. I made it a bit ago. In my discovery of finding arguments for us to go over in practice, learning logic, somebody brought up a modus tollens, but he messed it up really badly. But since that modus tollens is about falsifying things, it's like calling out bullshit. Somebody makes a claim, and modus tollens is there for you to falsify that claim. Well, I wanted to make a modus ponens argument as simple as possible. So I did. So here we go. This is the basis of what I call the argument, and seems to be what people like Jesse want to try and falsify, I guess. I mean, which is what the idea of a modus ponens is. It's up there. This is a positive. So if it has been proven that a straight line's parallel to the same straight line and not in the same plane with it are parallel to one another, proposition 9, book 11, the elements, that's solid geometry, then it can also be proved to be true of horizontal planes also. That's my statement. If geometrically it can be proved, then horizontal planes established within reality are there for this geometric thing to apply to. And since if all horizontal planes are parallel to the plane of the horizon, okay, then all horizontal planes will be parallel to one another. Q. Missed out, there's propositions within Euclid that can, obviously been proven. And we can say by definition, all horizontal planes are parallel to the plane of the horizon. So somebody's already defined these horizontal planes and horizontals as being that which is parallel to the plane of the horizon. I've tried. I've not been able to falsify that definition. So through geometric reasoning, you can reason that all horizontal planes must be parallel. So all it comes down to then is, can you establish a horizontal plane? And would that be provably parallel to the plane of the horizon?
So, can I respond, or are you still going? Did you make your argument?
Go on, that's the argument for horizontal planes being parallel. Yes.
So I think your modus fairytalens has a false assumption in it. You assume incorrectly that all parts of a horizontal are parallel to the horizon. But that's just your opinion. You have no evidence of that. And that is your false assumption. And without that, your whole logic just crumbles. You've got zero evidence. You take an opinion and then you build this entire house of cards on that one opinion, and you've got no substantiation for the opinion. Do you see the problem there?
Well, I would say the horizontal is all parts being horizontal.
So, do you have any evidence that horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon? However you put that weird thing?
Well, by definition, all horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon. But you can check this yourself, as can anybody around here. You can establish a horizontal wherever you are and just check that it is parallel with the plane of the horizon. And you can turn around and do that all the way.
Well, but I still...
Call it science.
Do you have any evidence of this definition that you mentioned? Did you just define that for our debate so that you could sound cool, or did you read it somewhere, or did you have a bad dream, or how did you come up with this idea that the horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon. Could you have evidence of that? Can you cite your definition from a dictionary, or did you just make it up?
Yeah, there's plenty of dictionary definitions of horizontal that state parallel to the plane of the horizon.
Okay, can you cite one? Just like drop it in the chat, or take your time.
Okay, but let's say there is a definition of horizontals being parallel to the plane of the horizon. Would you disagree with that?
Well, I need to see it.
You just need to see a definition.
Yeah, I need to see it.
Okay.
Yeah, take your time.
Like mathematics, places, or...
Yeah, just find the definition and post it in the chat, and I'll have a read. Because I need to bring up this new book I that's on Amazon. Did someone send you a new book yet?
What? Are you touting Nathan Oakley again?
No. Oh, no. This is an author that is not anything like Nathan Oakley.
Yeah, there's one.
He's a little bit of a twerp, but he's a bit nicer than Nathan. I hope he's nicer than Nathan. I really do. Look at that. Who wrote that? Did you make that up, or is this the Oxford International Dictionary or the Children's Rhymery Dictionary? Well, where did this come from, Bev? I just see words. I don't see any citation. There's no custody chain of custody here.
You asked for a thingy, didn't you?
Well, I mean, I kind of need to know who said it. You know what I mean? It's like you're making a claim that there's a published definition, but I can't tell from the screenshot if this is from Merriam-Webster or, the Grey Goose Nursery Rhymes book, or, what is this? Because your whole argument rests on this claim that horizontal is parallel to the plane of the horizon. Oh, it's from Merriam-Webster.
Oh yeah, one. I don't know whether that'll be.
Well, there we go. Let's see. Where's this from?
I don't know that.
That's the beauty about AI.
Might be Merriam-Webster.
Okay. Shall we say, for the sake of discussion, that it's Merriam-Webster?
You can if you want.
Okay.
It's a definition that you asked for.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Bev. I am now going to cite a book that just got published on Amazon that directly contradicts your citation by Merriam-Webster. Now, the guy that wrote this book, he wasn't a lot for writing long book. It's not a long book. You can read it in a day, maybe, if you work hard. But this guy actually has some experience with surveying equipment that Merriam and Webster didn't. So I'm gonna drop a book here on Amazon that directly debunks your citation there. Just give me a second. There we go. Okay, check out this book. It's titled The Art of Theodolite, a comprehensive guide to global geometry. And it was published just today. And let me see if the sample thing works. Oh, it doesn't. I'll get you a PDF of it. I got a PDF from the author.
There's a Merriam-Webster one there as well.
Well, neither Merriam nor Webster were surveyors, right? They didn't know about specifically the technical aspects of surveying or geodesy or um, stuff like that. Is that right? Or were they surveyors? Maybe they were.
Okay.
Maybe
Oh.
Daniel Boone might have been. I don't know.
Well, that's impressive, Jesse, because in one day, on the day that this book comes out that you're citing, you've falsified horizontal and vertical being perpendicular, at least over there.
Here, I just tagged you with the full-length book, both pages. And if you look on page 2, or on the first page, you will see that it literally says, not all horizontal planes on Earth are parallel to each other. So, and it's got a cute little diagram. It's got a stretched out Australia. It says Australia isn't this long. And it says, this genuine crayon document clearly addresses everything that you, the dear reader, needs to know about the geometry of the globe. This new and exciting research has escaped the sharp eye of a number of people who seem to be a little bit behind the curve. So, why should I trust why should I trust your citations from people who have never even touched a theodolite when I've got a contradicting citation that by somebody who has touched many theodolites and used them? Do you see the problem here? Why is your source more authoritative than my source, right?
So it's by definition. I mean, if you want to falsify it, I mean, you're saying that the definitions are wrong.
Well, that one is wrong. The technical
What?
definition that you gave me that one time, and one
Parallel
time
with
only,
the plane of the horizon for horizontal.
yeah, that is not technically accurate. And my
But that's what it says in Merriam-Webster.
Well, I'm telling
It's
you,
the part B that everybody seems to miss out, isn't it? You know, when you
Merriam-
have a definition of something in a dictionary, like, and there's two parts, a part A and a part B. Well, they can't contradict each other, can they?
well,
Those part A and part B within a definition, because that would be a violation of the law of identity. And dictionaries wouldn't do that type of thing. Well, you know the bit that you've missed out? It happens to be parallel with the plane of the horizon. Horizontal. That's the part B
well,
of the cherry-picked definition that people have been quoting for years.
well, the Merriam-Webster definition that you brought there contradicts both the technical dictionary.
I didn't bring it.
Well,
Bendy Space brought that one. Or at least Bendy. I think somebody else brought it as well.
No, the one.
Fe Dogma brought it as well. Parallel with the plane of the horizon. It's like everybody's getting into it. You asked me to show you where it said that in the dictionary. And everybody's posting it. There's loads of them. It's stated within the dictionary.
Well, so you've banked your entire argument on.
I'm not banking an argument. I'm just saying.
Well,
that horizontals are defined within the dictionary as being parallel with the plane of the horizon.
By a certain specific cherry-picked dictionary. But
by quite a few, actually.
Well, the people who wrote those were not surveyors. They had never used a theodolite. And I have a book by a guy who has used a theodolite, and he contradicts your source. So why should we trust your source by somebody who's never touched a theodolite over a source by somebody who has touched numerous theodolites and used them?
Well, you can prove it for yourself. I think that's what I was saying. Like
I did.
There is a way for you to be able to prove these things for yourself.
I did. I went out
on the real globe, right? You can go out.
I did.
And walk around on the real globe and find that a horizontal plane of reference can be established.
Yeah, I did. I went out to the lake on the real globe. I set up equal height points in a row, and I measured the deviation between plumb and the ends of a horizontal line. I did demonstrate it for myself. Do you have a demonstration for yourself to the contrary, Bev?
You didn't measure the elevation change of a water level, did you?
Well, I sure was using a lake, and I sure think it was level. If you've got evidence that the lake was not level, then...
You didn't measure an elevation change of it, though, did you?
Well, not by definition, because elevation is the equal height line, so that could be curved.
It's a measurement change on the vertical datum, right? That's what measured elevation change would be shown upon the vertical datum.
Well,
on the real globe.
Well, can you understand my position, Bev? I've got a source by a guy who's used theodolites, auto levels, and total stations, who says that not all horizontal planes on Earth are parallel to each other. You're citing
you've already stated that you can measure an angle between a horizontal and a horizontal.
You're citing some dictionary writers who never touched a theodolite. I've presented evidence that not all points of a horizontal are level, and that not all horizontals are parallel. You've presented zero evidence. So I think that's about as far as we can make it tonight. So I do want to say thank you so much for the debate. I really enjoyed it, and I hope we can have another one on a new topic sometime. And would you like to go ahead and make your closing statement, or finish your argument if you were still in the middle of it?
Well, I did state an argument earlier. The evidence of that, like I said, it's up for people to do for themselves. We do have a test we did a couple of years ago. It's just a geometric test within reality, to link these ideas of this modus ponens statements that you can make through logic into reality. Well, you can also apply geometric reasoning to reality. That's how we understand vertical and horizontal being perpendicular. Look into it for yourself, but just remember, 'tis globe.
I measured it for myself.
Yep,
all right.
Always going to be a globe.
Was that your closing statement?
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, I guess in my closing statement, I think I clearly demonstrated the theory, the observation, the fact, and even a very freshly published book that backs up my claim by someone who actually has used all of these instruments. And thank you so much, everyone, for participating. And I'm going to hand it back to the moderator. You still awake, Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Everyone has now been given speaking permissions. So if you leave and enter the chat, if we want to have a Q&A, we can do that now.
If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are, who made the guess, or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Van Gogh. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. I'm bad she bad, but she totally nice. Nails are blue and her toes feel like white. They company med jar at the soul for my leg. He knew it for sure, but he left with a why.